Welcome back. Today I want to talk about the Agony of Bliss. And it's a strange title, but I think you're going to understand very, very soon, very easily. So let's get into it. One of my students called me up and they had seen a homeless man. I think it was at the train station, and something was happening with this homeless man, and their heart about broke into a million pieces in the overwhelming compassion that they were feeling and the agony that they felt for this person. And when you're in this kind of situation, the question can be, what can I do? What do I do about all of that? One of the best and yogic things that we can do is pray and add the weight of our energy, add the weight of our love, add the weight of our connection to the divine to the equation. And you don't know what that's going to do for somebody, how much it can influence them over time. Because a lot of times there's just not a practical thing that we can do in that moment. Now, sometimes there is a practical thing that we can do, and that's wonderful. But a lot of times there isn't a practical thing, and prayer becomes our resource. But I wanted to talk about this agony that the heart can feel of while it's feeling bliss. Everything that we are doing, everything in every single meditative tradition is a sensitivity drill. It's all teaching us to become more and more internally sensitive. And so we're going to become externally sensitive automatically. We didn't have to try, we didn't have to look, it's just there. It just arises because of that interior sensitivity. We're watching the breath. That's a sensitivity drill. We're looking at the chakras. That's a sensitivity drill. We're feeling into the chakras. That's a sensitivity drill. We're coming into silence. That increases our sensitivity. And as we're cleaning out the chakras, that as well makes us more sensitive. When I first started teaching, one of my students called me up and he goes, "I don't know what's going on, but I cannot watch a movie." I'm like, "You can't watch a movie?" He says, "No, I start watching a movie, I start bawling my eyes out." Even a fictitious plot will stir the heart because we're so sensitive. And a very interesting thing can happen even while you're feeling incredible bliss. So first we might come in touch with the dorsal vagal. We're doing the long breathing, right? We're doing the heart rate variability resonant breathing, right? We're making our out breath nice and long, and that is awakening the parasympathetic system within. We're becoming more silent because of that. The body quiets down, it reflects back on the mind becomes more silent automatically, and we start getting these wonderful sensations of the four proofs, right? And we start noticing that those proofs of the parasympathetic system are blissful. And the tranquility that comes and the calm that comes makes it more and more available to us. And we see more and more of that little bit of bliss open up inside of us. And then it comes into the heart, and the heart itself becomes blissful, right? Not only through the dorsal vagal, but because the heart is a window into the left amygdala, the very source of bliss and joy and love in the brain, right? So all of this is taking place, and you can start to feel this tremendous bliss. And this wonderful yogini said to me something very, very true. She said, "I feel this bliss coming out, and at the same time, this pain, this sadness is also coming out." And what's happening in that state, and this is really what I want to talk about, is that the bliss is coming out, but there's still this old memory, this old pain, this old hurt, this old sadness, which is stored in the heart or stored in the gut or stored somewhere inside of us, right? Because all of the chakras are projections from the brain, right? So we feel those emotions in the body. It's very intuitive. Everybody points to their heart for love because it's projected from the brain down into the heart. And so those feelings, those old feelings and those old small and large traumas are held inside of the chakras. And as the bliss arises, it starts pushing out those negative things as well. And it's as if it's a race, right? And you've got this good Pac-Man eating the dark ghosts, the ghosts, right? The Buddhists, I just saw the other day, the Buddhists were talking about the hungry ghosts below. Isn't that an apt description of our negative states inside of us, right? The hungry ghosts below. So we're carrying around these ghosts of pain, these ghosts of hurt, and the bliss arises. And that Pac-Man of bliss starts eating away at the old hungry ghosts of our old pain. And so you can feel both of those inside of you. The bliss will come up and it'll start pushing out or eating away at that old pain. And you will let go of it more and more and more easily. It will be washed out by the bliss more and more completely as you go through your practice. There is a famous experience of Saint Teresa of Avila. I believe she called this experience transverberation. Isn't that interesting? Transverberation. The transverberation of Saint Teresa of Avila. She wrote in her autobiography, "Our Lord was pleased that I should have at times a vision of this kind. I saw an angel close by me, on my left side, in bodily form." Remember the angel exercise, left side? This I am not accustomed to see unless very rarely, though I have seen visions of angels frequently, yet I see them only by an intellectual vision. Now this is beautiful because Saint Teresa of Avila, she talks about the voiceless voice, and here she's talking about an intellectual vision. That means she felt a presence, or she understood there was a presence, but she did not actually see something. That's very important because a lot of times people are looking for an actual vision to happen, and they will negate an experience that they believe to be true, but they don't quite understand. And St. Teresa, very, very wisely, is not negating those experiences simply because she didn't have a full vision. Here she is having a full vision, but she's explaining this is not always the case, and sometimes I will have an intellectual vision. Isn't that amazing? Such as I have spoken of before, it was our Lord's will that in this vision I should see the angel in this wise. He was not large, but small of stature, and most beautiful, his face burning, as if he were one of the highest angels, who seemed to be all of fire. Now, whenever you hear in either a Jewish text or a Christian text, and they're talking about the fire of the angel, it's not fire that they're talking about. They're talking about light, because they didn't have like a flashlight like we have today. They just had fire, and that's what they associated with light. But it wasn't burning, really. It was light coming out of his face. They must be those whom we call cherub. Their names they never tell me, but I see very well that there is in heaven so great a difference between one angel and another, and between these and the others, that I cannot explain. I saw in his hand a long spear of gold, and at the iron's point there seemed to be a little fire. He appeared to me to be thrusting it at times into my heart, and to pierce my very entrails. So not only her heart, but also her gut. When he drew it out, he seemed to draw them out also, and to leave me all on fire with a great love of God. The pain was so great that it made me moan, and yet so surpassing was the sweetness of this excessive pain that I could not wish to be rid of it. The soul is satisfied now with nothing less than God. The pain is not bodily, but spiritual. Though the body has its share in it, even a large one, it is a caressing of love so sweet, which now takes place between the soul and God, that I pray God of his goodness to make him experience it who may think that I am lying. Beautiful, right? Absolutely beautiful. And so you could say that some of this could have been a bit of a kundalini pain that she might have been feeling. But because of the word that they chose to use, transverberation, I believe it's also this awakening of the chakra through bliss, right? The bliss of the divine. This came straight from the left amygdala. She even saw it in the form of an angel over her left shoulder, and the angel pierced her heart with bliss, and not only her heart, but also the center of fear, the gut. And so as that happened and that cleansing process happened, you could see that there was pain also leaving at the same time. And so this is a further cleansing through bliss that we might encounter. We might not have a vision of an angel, but certainly we can feel that bliss and the action that it's taking on us. And we can taste a little bit of what St. Teresa of Avila is talking about here. We can feel that bliss and also notice that the pain of the past is leaving. We're shedding it away. And as we shed it away, we're left with something more and more sublime, a bliss which is more and more tranquil. And that's the way that your meditations will go. So everything, your breath will become more tranquil. Your mind will become more tranquil. Your heart will become more tranquil. Your bliss will become more tranquil. Everything will become more sublime and more tranquil. And so sometimes you'll notice you come into a very, very quiet, deep state. And you will say, well, nothing's happening. Well, yes, because you're becoming more and more tranquil and you're going in the right direction. So allow yourself to trust that process. Allow yourself to trust that more and more sublime state, that more and more tranquil state, even when it comes to your heart. But along the way, we very much might encounter this agony of bliss, where the bliss arises and it pushes the old pain out because there's just no more room for all that old junk. We don't need it. We let it go. And the bliss automatically eats away at it bit by bit until it's gone. And then everything becomes more and more and more sublime. So if you would like to get in touch with your angel of your left amygdala in a very scientific process, go ahead and check out my third training on my website, meditativemellows.com, the third training about talking with the higher self. So I hope that you love this. If you did, be sure to hit that bell down below so I can see all of you next time.